Hello everyone! Welcome back to English on the Way, the fun and easy way to learn English. I'm Charles.
And I'm Rachel. We are absolutely thrilled to be here with you today. Charles, how are you feeling? Ready for a fantastic episode?
I'm feeling wonderful, Rachel. Super excited. Our topic today is something I think many of our listeners will find interesting and useful. It's about the daily life of a university student.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very common experience for many young people around the world. Today, we're going to talk about a day in a university student's life. We'll follow a student from the very beginning of her day right until the end.
Yes, and the goal is to give you lots of practical English words and phrases, words you can use in real everyday conversations. We'll cover many different situations.
Exactly. Imagine talking to friends, asking questions in a classroom, or even discussing school projects. All these moments are perfect for learning new English.
We want to make it easy for you to understand and to use these words yourself. So, get ready to listen and learn.
Before we dive into our Students' Day, a quick reminder for all of you. Please remember to like this video right now. Give us a big thumbs up. It helps us a lot.
And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel, English on the Way. Joining our community is free, and you won't miss any of our new English lessons.
Also, please share this episode with your friends, your family, or anyone you know who wants to learn English in a fun and easy way. Sharing is caring, and it truly helps us reach more people.
Thank you, everyone, for your incredible support. We really appreciate it. Okay, Rachel, let's begin our journey. Let's imagine our student. Her name is Sarah. What's the first thing Sarah probably does in the morning?
Well, like for most of us, her day probably starts with an alarm clock. Beep, beep, beep. It rings loudly.
Yes, that's a familiar sound. So, the alarm rings. Does Sarah jump out of bed immediately?
Not always. Maybe she hits the snooze button once or twice, thinking, just 5 more minutes.
Yes, that's so relatable. Many students love those extra few minutes of sleep, but eventually she has to wake up.
That's right. She finally gets up from bed. She might stretch her arms and legs. And maybe a big yawn.
Good. After getting out of bed, what's her next step in the morning routine?
She goes to the bathroom. It's the first stop for getting ready.
And what does she do there?
She brushes her teeth. This is important for fresh breath. And she also washes her face with cool water. This helps her feel more awake.
Perfect. So wake up, get up, brush teeth, and wash face. Simple, essential verbs for daily actions. After the bathroom, what's next for Sarah? Is it breakfast time?
Probably. Breakfast is key to starting the day. Sarah goes to the kitchen in her apartment or university dorm.
What does she eat for breakfast?
She might have something quick and easy, like cereal with milk, or maybe just a piece of toast with some jam or butter.
And what about coffee? Is that a must for university students?
Oh, absolutely. Coffee is super important. It gives energy to study and focus. Many students can't start their day without it.
Yes, coffee is like fuel. So, she has breakfast. After eating, she needs to get ready for her classes. What does she do to prepare herself before leaving for campus?
She needs to get dressed. She chooses comfortable clothes. Think a t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. University life means a lot of walking.
And after getting dressed, what's the next important step for her to get ready?
She has to pack her backpack. This is very important. Her backpack carries everything she needs for the day.
What are the essential things she puts in her backpack, Rachel?
Well, first, her laptop. It's essential for notes and assignments. Then her notebooks and pens or pencils for writing.
Anything else for classes?
Yes, a water bottle to stay hydrated. And her phone and headphones. Maybe she listens to music on her way to class. Or an English podcast.
Good idea. She might also pack a snack, like an apple or a granola bar, for when she gets hungry between classes.
So Sarah is dressed and her backpack is packed. Now it's time to go to university. How does she travel to campus? Does she walk or take transport?
It depends on how far her apartment is. If it's very close, she might walk. It's good exercise and saves money.
But if it's a bit far?
Then she probably takes the bus. Many students use public transport. It's convenient and often cheaper than driving. Let's imagine Sarah takes the bus today.
While on the bus, what does she do?
She might be reviewing some notes on her phone, or just listening to music, or thinking about her day ahead.
So she arrives on campus. University campuses are usually big and busy places, right? Lots of different buildings and students everywhere.
Yes, very big and full of life. When Sarah gets to campus, she might see one of her friends. Let's imagine she sees her friend Tom near the main entrance or walking to class.
Okay, so Sarah sees Tom. What kind of simple greeting would they exchange? Just a quick hello?
Exactly, very natural. Sarah would say, "Hi, Tom, good morning."
And Tom would respond to her?
Tom would say, "Hey, Sarah, good morning. Are you ready for Professor Lee's class?"
What would Sarah's answer be after a long night of studying, perhaps?
Sarah might respond, "Not really. I need more coffee." Did you get yours?
And Tom, probably feeling the same way, would say,
Me too. Let's try to grab a coffee before class if we have time.
So they greet each other and talk about class and coffee. Very real.
Yes, very common. Then they would head to their first class. What's a typical university class like, especially a big one?
A typical large university class is often called a lecture. It's usually held in a big lecture hall. There are many, many students in these classes.
And who is at the front of the room?
Professor Lee is at the front. She might be using a projector to show slides with important information.
And what about Sarah during the lecture?
Sarah would find a seat. She takes out her notebook and pen or opens her laptop. She takes notes during the lecture. This helps her remember everything the professor says.
What if Sarah doesn't understand something the professor explains? How can she ask a question politely in a big class?
That's a great point, Charles. It's important to ask when you don't understand. Sarah would politely raise her hand to get the professor's attention.
And when the professor calls on her?
When the professor says, "Yes, Sarah," she would ask, "Excuse me, Professor Lee, could you please explain that part again? I don't understand global warming very well."
And Professor Lee would then respond, "Of course, global warming is," and explain the topic again. So, "excuse me," and "could you please explain that again," are very useful and polite phrases.
Yes, exactly. These phrases are great for any situation where you need clarification. After the first class, it's usually time for a short break, right? Students need a little rest before the next class.
Yes, usually a short break, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Sarah might use this time to stretch her legs, or maybe get a quick snack.
Where does she go during this break?
She might walk to the student lounge or the university library. She could quickly check her phone for messages or just review her notes from the first class.
It's a good moment to clear her head before the next lecture. What if she meets another friend during this break? Let's say she sees Maria, another classmate, in the hallway.
Oh, that's a common interaction. Sarah would walk up to Maria and say, "Hey, Maria, how was your economics class?"
And Maria would reply, sharing her experience.
Maria might say, "Hi, Sarah. It was okay, but a bit boring today. We just reviewed old topics. What about your science class?"
And Sarah shares her thoughts on her class.
Sarah would say, "It was interesting. We talked about climate change and its effects. Do you want to grab lunch together later? I'm getting hungry already."
And Maria, probably also hungry, would quickly agree.
Maria would say, "Yes, good idea. I'm starving. What time?"
Always hungry. So they make plans for lunch. Where do students usually eat lunch on a university campus, Charles? Are there many options?
Typically, students eat at the university cafeteria, or there might be a smaller cafe on campus. The cafeteria usually has many different food options.
Like a buffet?
Yes, sometimes like a buffet. The food might not be five-star gourmet, but it's usually convenient and often quite cheap for students. It's a great place to meet friends and socialize too.
So they pick up their food, maybe a sandwich, a salad, or a hot meal. Then they find a table to sit together. What do they talk about during lunch?
Beyond just their classes, they might discuss something more important, like a group project or an upcoming exam. Group projects are a big part of university life.
Yes, students often work together on assignments. So during lunch, Sarah might bring up their project.
Sarah might say to Maria, "Maria, about our history project, the one on ancient civilizations, when can we meet to work on it? We need to start soon."
And Maria would think about her schedule and availability.
Maria might say, "I'm free on Wednesday afternoon after my last class. Is that good for you? I finish at 2 p.m.
How does Sarah respond to that suggestion?
Sarah would quickly check her own schedule, maybe on her phone or in her planner. She would say, "Wednesday afternoon, let me check my schedule. Yes, that works for me. How about we meet around 3 p.m. in the library? There are good tables there for group work."
And Maria would confirm the plan.
Maria would reply, "Perfect. See you there on Wednesday at 3. We can plan our presentation." So, when can we meet? Is that good for you? And that works for me. These are extremely useful phrases for making plans and scheduling meetings.
Absolutely. Not just for students, but for anyone who needs to schedule something. After lunch, Sarah probably has more classes in the afternoon, right? The university day is often long.
That's right. Usually, students have 1 or 2 more classes in the afternoon. Sometimes these are smaller classes.
What kind of smaller classes?
They might be called seminars. In a seminar, students are expected to participate more actively. They discuss topics. They share their opinions. It's less about listening and more about talking.
So great for practicing speaking English. And after all her classes are finished for the day, what does Sarah usually do? Does she go home right away?
Not usually. Many students, like Sarah, don't go straight home after their last class. They often go to the university library to continue their studies.
How long does she spend there?
Sarah might spend an hour or 2, or even longer, depending on how much homework or reading she has to do.
What specific activities does she do in the library?
In the library, she would be reviewing her notes from classes, she would read books for her courses, and she might start her assignments or essays that are due soon.
It's a very important place for students to focus, isn't it?
Yes, the library is usually a very quiet place. It's perfect for concentration. Sometimes students also work on their group projects there after classes.
So, after studying at the library, it's probably getting quite late in the afternoon or early evening. Time to head home?
Yes, after a few hours of studying, her brain must be a bit tired. She would then take the bus back home again, or walk, depending on the distance.
And when she finally arrives at her apartment or dorm,
She might feel a bit exhausted from the long day, but also satisfied, knowing she was productive. She might think to herself, finally home. Long day, but I got a lot done.
I remember those feelings well. After a long day of classes, lectures, group work, and studying, what's next for Sarah? Dinner, I imagine? She must be hungry again after all that brain work.
Absolutely. It's definitely dinner time. She might cook something simple for herself, like a quick pasta dish, or some rice and vegetables, or a fresh salad.
Do university students usually cook?
Many learn to cook basic meals to save money, but if she's really tired and doesn't feel like cooking, she might order takeout.
Like a pizza, maybe?
Yes, a delicious pizza or some Chinese food. Pizza is always a good option after a long, busy day.
Pizza is definitely a popular choice for students. So she has dinner, and after dinner, what's the usual routine? More studying, or finally some time to relax and unwind?
A bit of both, usually. She might do a little more reading for a class, maybe just 30 minutes to finish a chapter, or she might finish a small assignment that's due the next day.
But then it's finally time to relax.
Yes, she might watch a show on TV or a streaming service, or just listen to music to relax her mind.
Or connect with people.
Exactly. She might call her family or friends to chat about her day. It's important to de-stress after a busy day of learning and studying.
And then, as the evening draws to a close, she starts getting ready for bed.
Yes, she brushes her teeth again, changes into her pajamas, and prepares for sleep.
And then she goes to bed. Maybe she reads a light book for a few minutes before turning off the light.
And then she falls asleep, ready to rest and recharge for another busy, interesting, and productive day at university. What a full day that was, Rachel.
It truly was, Charles, and we covered so much practical English, all about a university student's daily routine, from waking up to studying to eating and relaxing.
Yes, we talked about morning routines, attending classes, having lunch with friends, and studying at the library, all with simple, clear English.
Remember, everyone, practice makes perfect. Try to use these new words and phrases. Say them out loud. Imagine yourself in these situations. It helps a lot.
That's excellent advice, Rachel. We really hope you enjoyed this episode and that you learned a lot about a university student's day.
Before we say goodbye for today, we have our usual, very important requests. Please, 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 if you haven't done so already, subscribe to English on the Way right now. It helps our channel grow so much.
And like this video to show us your support and that you enjoyed this lesson. It truly makes a difference for us.
Yes, and finally, please leave a comment below. We love, love, love reading your comments and interacting with you.
Tell us, what is one new English word or phrase you learned today about a university student's day? Or, if you are a student, what does your typical day look like? What is the first thing you do when you wake up? Share your experiences.
Thank you so much for joining us today on English on the Way. We had so much fun sharing this day with you. We're so grateful for your support.
See you next time for more fun and easy English. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Keep practicing.